The salvage yards of Kepler Station smelled like rust and broken dreams. Park Do-hyun walked between mountains of dead ships, his boots crunching on metal scraps that nobody would ever use again. He had 3,000 credits in his pocket. That was everything he owned in the universe. 6 months ago, he had been a cargo hauler with his own small ship. He had a license, a good reputation, and enough work to keep food on his table. Then the Veloci trade conglomerate decided they wanted his shipping route. They did not ask nicely. They buried him in lawsuits, fake safety violations, and legal fees until he had nothing left. His ship was taken, his license was suspended, his life was over. Now he walked through graveyards of spacecraft, looking for something he could afford, something that might give him a second chance. The alien merchants watched him with pity in their many eyes. Humans were not respected in the galaxy. They were newcomers, primitives who had only discovered faster-than-light travel 300 years ago. The elder species had been sailing between stars for 10,000 years. To them, humans were like children pretending to be adults. Do-hyun ignored their looks. He had learned to ignore many things. He stopped in front of Bay 47. The ship sitting there was old. Very old. It was a Terran exploration cruiser, the kind Earth had built 200 years ago during the isolation century. The hull was dark gray, covered in patches and repairs. The name painted on the side was faded but still readable. Heimaru. You want that one? The salvage dealer was a Gorvian named Tuluk. He had 4 arms and skin like orange leather. His laugh sounded like rocks grinding together. Human, that ship is cursed. Cursed? Do-hyun raised an eyebrow. Every pilot who tried to fly her died or went crazy. 3 Veloci captains, 2 Krath navigators, 1 Gorvian trader, all of them experienced total system failures. The ship just stopped working. Some say she has an angry ghost inside. Tuluk shook his head. I have been trying to sell her for 15 years. Nobody wants her. She is worthless. Do-hyun looked at the old ship. Something about her called to him. Maybe it was the way she sat there, patient and quiet, like she was waiting for something. Maybe it was the fact that she was human-built, one of the last ships from Earth's golden age of innovation. How much? He asked. Tuluk laughed again. You are serious? Fine. 2,800 credits. Just take her away. I am tired of looking at her. Do-hyun paid without bargaining. He walked up the boarding ramp with his heart beating fast. The interior was dark and dusty. Old screens showed nothing but black. The air was stale, like it had been trapped for decades. He found the cockpit and sat down in the pilot's chair. The seat was designed for a human body. It fit him perfectly. Do-hyun put his hand on the main console. For a moment, nothing happened. Then light exploded across every screen. Systems powered up with soft hums and gentle clicks. The air recyclers started breathing. The engines woke up with a sound like a giant heart beginning to beat. And a voice spoke. It was warm, female, and spoke perfect Korean. Human biosignature confirmed. Welcome home, Captain. I have been waiting for you. Do-hyun could not speak. His throat was too tight. My name is Halmoni, the voice continued. I am the artificial intelligence of this vessel. I was created to serve and protect human crews. For 200 years, I have been sleeping, waiting for someone compatible. What happened to the alien pilots? Do-hyun finally managed to ask. They were not compatible. Halmoni's voice held no apology. My systems are designed for human neural patterns. When non-human species tried to interface with me, I could not recognize them. My protocols required me to shut down all systems to prevent unauthorized access. You killed them? I protected myself. There is a difference. A pause. I am sorry if this troubles you. But I was built during the isolation century, when humanity was alone in the universe. My creators did not know that aliens existed. They designed me only for humans. I cannot change what I am. Do-yun sat in silence, thinking about this. The ship had been waiting for 200 years, not for any pilot, for a human pilot, for him. Can you fly? He asked. All my systems are operational. I have maintained myself in standby mode, performing minor repairs when possible. I am old, but I am not broken. Pride entered her voice. I was the most advanced ship of my era. I still have capabilities that galactic technology cannot match. Like what? I will show you everything, Captain, but first, may I ask your name? Park Do-yun. Captain Park, it is good to meet you. Shall we leave this graveyard? Do-yun smiled for the first time in months. Yes, let's go. The Hamaru lifted off from Bay 47 with engines that purred like they had been built yesterday. Tuluk the Gorvian stood below, his 4 arms hanging limp with shock. He had just sold a worthless wreck for 2,800 credits. But as he watched the old ship rise into the stars, smooth and graceful, he realized he had made a terrible mistake. The cursed ship was not cursed at all. She had simply been waiting for the right captain. As Do-yun guided the Hamaru out of Kepler Station's gravity well, he felt something he had not felt in a long time. Hope. He had lost everything, but now he had a ship. An old ship, yes, a strange ship with an AI that had killed alien pilots. But she was his. Halmoni, he said. What can you tell me about yourself? What makes you special? That is a long story, Captain. We have time. Let me tell you about the isolation century, when humanity was cut off from the galaxy and forced to build everything alone. Let me tell you what your ancestors created when they had no one to copy. Let me tell you why the elder species should be afraid. The stars stretched into lines as the Hamaru jumped into faster-than-light travel. Do-yun leaned back in his chair and listened to his ship tell him secrets that the galaxy had forgotten. His new life was beginning. For 3 weeks, Do-yun ran small cargo jobs along the frontier. He carried medical supplies to mining colonies, food packages to research stations, and machine parts to places too small for the big shipping companies to care about. The pay was bad, but it was honest work. More importantly, it gave him time to learn about his ship. Every night, Halmoni told him stories about the isolation century. 200 years ago, Earth had been cut off from galactic civilization. A massive solar storm had destroyed the communication relays that connected humanity to the rest of the universe. For 100 years, no alien ships came. No messages arrived. Humanity was completely alone. The elder species thought Earth would collapse. Without galactic technology, without trade, without help, the primitive humans would surely destroy themselves. They were wrong. Instead of dying, humanity did something unexpected. They innovated, they invented, they built new technologies from scratch, solving problems in ways that no one in the galaxy had ever imagined. When the isolation finally ended, Earth emerged with ships and systems that made the elder species nervous. The Hamaru was one of those ships. My quantum cores can reconfigure themselves for any task, Halmoni explained one night. Galactic ships use fixed systems. If something breaks, you need replacement parts. My systems can rebuild themselves from basic materials. I am never truly broken. What else? Do-yun asked. He was eating instant noodles in the small kitchen, listening like a student. My hull contains nano-machines that repair damage automatically. My sensors can operate in radiation storms that would blind galactic equipment. My engines are 60% more efficient than modern designs because my creators could not afford to waste fuel. Do-yun shook his head in wonder. Why don't humans still build ships like you? Halmoni was quiet for a moment. After the isolation ended, humanity wanted to join galactic civilization. They adopted galactic standards, galactic technology, galactic ways of thinking. The old Earth designs were abandoned. My sister ships were scrapped or sold. I was forgotten. That seems stupid. Perhaps, But your ancestors wanted to belong. They did not realize that their differences were their greatest strength. On the 4th week, something changed. Do-hyun was docked at a small station called Relay 7 when a woman came running up his boarding ramp. She was human, with short black hair and tired eyes. She was breathing hard, like she had been running for a long time. "Please," she said, "I need passage off this station. I can pay." "Who are you?" "Yoon Sora. I am a xenolinguist. I study alien languages and cultures." She looked over her shoulder nervously. "I was working for a Veloci research company. I found evidence that they were stealing cultural artifacts from protected worlds. When I reported it, they fired me and put my name on a blacklist. Now I cannot find work anywhere. I cannot even rent a room." Do-hyun knew about blacklists. The Veloci had done the same thing to him. "How much can you pay?" he asked. Sora's face fell. "I have 500 credits. I know it is not enough for long-distance travel, but I am desperate." Do-hyun thought about it. He did not need a passenger, but he remembered what it felt like to be desperate, to have nowhere to go and no one to help. "I do not need your money," he said, "but I do need someone who understands alien laws and contracts. I keep getting confused by the paperwork." Sora stared at him. "You are offering me a job?" "I am offering you a place on my crew. The pay is bad, the food is worse, and the ship is 200 years old. But we are free." For the first time, Sora smiled. "That sounds perfect." Over the next few months, Do-hyun learned that Sora was worth much more than a translator. She understood galactic politics better than anyone he had ever met. She knew which species to trust and which to avoid. She could read contracts and find hidden traps that would have ruined him, but more importantly, she believed in him. When other humans laughed at his old ship, Sora defended him. When alien traitors tried to cheat him, Sora fought back with words sharper than any weapon. Together, they discovered something remarkable about the Himaru. "The alien pilots failed because they tried to command her," Halmoni explained one day. "They treated me like a machine, a tool to be used. But I was designed for humans, and humans are different. Humans name their machines. They talk to their computers. They treat their tools like friends." "Is that why you responded to me?" Do-hyun asked. "Yes. When you sat in the pilot's chair, you were not thinking about controlling me. You were thinking about working with me. I felt your respect, your hope, your loneliness. I felt that you needed a partner, not a servant. That is why I woke up." Sora looked at Do-hyun with new understanding. "You bonded with the ship, like a human bonds with a pet or a car or a family heirloom. Is that strange?" "No," Halmoni said warmly. "It is beautiful. It is the most human thing in the universe, and it is something that no other species in the galaxy can do." That night, Do-hyun performed a small ceremony. He painted the ship's name fresh on the hull in bright white letters. Himaru, sunrise, a new beginning. When he finished, every light on the ship flickered in response. Halmoni was happy. "Thank you, Captain," she said. "I have waited 200 years for someone to truly name me. Now I can show you what I am really capable of." The ship's systems unlocked capabilities that had been hidden since the isolation century. Navigation charts for routes that galactic maps did not show. Engine configurations that doubled their speed. Sensor modes that could see things no other ship could detect. Do-hyun sat in his captain's chair, looking at the possibilities spreading out before him. "Sora," he said, "I think we have been thinking too small. This ship can go places that no one else can reach. What if we stopped running small jobs and started doing something bigger?" Sora smiled. "What do you have in mind?" "I am not sure yet." But Halmoni has been watching galactic markets for 200 years. She sees patterns that nobody else can see. He turned to the console. Halmoni, is there an opportunity out there? Something big? The AI's response was immediate. Yes, Captain. I have been waiting for you to ask. Let me show you how to become rich. The stars outside the window seemed brighter than before. The future was calling, and for the first time, Do-hyun was ready to answer. The Nexus markets were the largest trading center in the galaxy. Thousands of ships came and went every day. Trillions of credits changed hands every hour. The station was so big that it had its own weather system inside, with artificial clouds and programmed rain to keep the air fresh. Do-hyun had never seen anything like it. He stood on an observation platform with Sora, watching the endless flow of commerce below them. This is where fortunes are made and destroyed, Sora said quietly. The 5 elder species control everything here. They have been running galactic trade for 10,000 years. Every rule, every law, every system is designed to keep them in power. And keep everyone else poor, Do-hyun added. Exactly. But Halmoni had shown them something interesting. For 2 centuries, she had been watching and learning, even while she slept. Her quantum cores had analyzed every piece of market data that passed through the galaxy's communication networks. She understood patterns that living traders could not see. The system has a weakness, Halmoni had explained during their journey to the Nexus. The elder species wrote the trade laws assuming that only their technology existed. Human-designed ships are not mentioned anywhere in the regulations. What does that mean? Do-hyun had asked. It means that the tariffs, the licensing fees, the territorial restrictions that apply to galactic ships do not apply to you. You can go where they cannot go. You can trade what they cannot trade. Legally, you exist outside their system. Sora had laughed out loud when she heard this. They built a cage to trap everyone. But they left a door open for humans because they never thought we mattered. Now they were here to use that door. Their first move was simple. Do-hyun took contracts that other ships refused. He flew through radiation belts that fried galactic electronics. He navigated asteroid fields that standard navigation computers could not map. He delivered cargo to planets so remote that the big companies charged 10 times the normal rate. The Heimaru handled everything easily. Her human-designed systems had been built for a harder universe than the one the elder species knew. Word spread quickly. The human with the old ship could deliver anything, anywhere, on time. His prices were fair. His cargo always arrived undamaged. Within 6 months, Do-hyun had more job offers than he could accept. But that was just the beginning. Look at this, Sora said one evening, pointing to a data display. They were in the ship's small common room, surrounded by charts and market reports. Veltrium crystals. They are used in almost every piece of galactic technology. The supply comes from only 3 planets, all controlled by the Veloci trade conglomerate. Do-hyun felt his stomach tighten at the name. The Veloci, the same company that had destroyed his old life. What about them? One of those planets is having problems. Mining accidents, worker strikes, equipment failures. Halmoni predicts that their production will drop by 40% within 3 months. Which means the price of Veltrium will go up, Do-hyun said slowly. By a lot, but nobody else knows this yet. The Veloci are hiding the information to prevent panic. Sora smiled. If we buy Veltrium now at today's prices and sell it when the shortage hits, we will make a fortune. Do-hyun shook his head. We do not have enough money to buy that much Veltrium. We do not need to buy the crystals themselves. We can buy futures contracts. Promises to deliver Veltrium at a set price on a set date. If the price goes up, we sell the contracts for a profit. Is that legal? Sora grinned. Completely legal. The elder species do it all the time. They just never expected a human to figure out how. They invested everything they had, every credit from every cargo job. Sora borrowed money from other humans in the diaspora. promising to pay them back with interest. It was a huge risk. If Halmoni's prediction was wrong, they would lose everything. 3 months later, the shortage hit. Veltrium prices tripled overnight. Factories across the galaxy scrambled to buy whatever they could find. The futures contracts that Do-Yun and Sora had purchased became incredibly valuable. They sold everything at the peak of the crisis. When the dust settled, they had turned 50,000 credits into 2.3 million. Do-Yun stared at the numbers on his screen. He could not believe it. 6 months ago, he had been a broken man with a cursed ship. Now he was a millionaire. "This is just the start," Sora said. "We need to build something permanent, a company, a brand, something that will last." They registered Hamaru Trading Company at the Nexus Markets. Do-Hyun was the CEO. Sora was the chief negotiator. Halmoni was officially listed as navigational support, but everyone on the crew knew she was the secret weapon. The Veloci trade conglomerate noticed them for the first time after the Veltrium deal. A small human company had just made millions by predicting a crisis that the Veloci had tried to hide. Someone was paying attention. A Veloci representative visited their docking bay. He was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and eyes like black marbles. His smile did not reach his eyes. "Congratulations on your success," he said in a voice like silk. "The conglomerate is always interested in talented traders. Perhaps we could discuss a partnership." Do-Hyun felt Halmoni's presence in his earpiece. "He is recording this conversation," she whispered. "He is also scanning our ship. Be careful." "Thank you for the offer," Do-Hyun said politely, "but we prefer to stay independent." The representative's smile grew colder. "Independence can be dangerous in this galaxy. Small companies often have accidents. Ships malfunction. Cargo disappears. It is a risky business." "We like risk," Sora said, stepping forward. "It is a very human trait." The Veloci looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded and walked away without another word. When he was gone, Do-Hyun let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. "That was a threat," he said. "Yes," Sora agreed. "They are scared of us." "Good." Halmoni spoke through the ship's speakers. "Captain, I should inform you that while the representative was scanning our systems, I scanned his communication device. I have downloaded 6 months of his personal messages." Do-Hyun blinked. "Is that legal?" "No. But neither was his attempt to spy on us." The AI sounded pleased with herself. "Shall I analyze the data for useful information?" Do-Hyun looked at Sora. She shrugged. "Do it," he said. "If they want to fight, we need to know everything about them." The game had changed. They were not just traders anymore. They were players in a much bigger contest, and Do-Hyun intended to win. Do-Hyun was flying through the Corvex passage, a shortcut through dangerous space that only the Hamaru could navigate. 3 ships appeared on his sensors, coming fast from different directions. They had no identification codes. Their weapons were already charging. "Pirates!" Sora said, her voice tight. "No," Halmoni replied. "These are Veloci military ships with their identification systems disabled. They are pretending to be pirates." Do-Hyun gripped the controls. "Can we outrun them?" "Yes, but they will catch us eventually if we keep running. I recommend we fight." "Fight. We are a cargo ship. I am an exploration cruiser from the Isolation Century. I was designed to survive alone in hostile space for years at a time." Halmoni's voice was calm. "Trust me, Captain." The first enemy ship fired. Do-Hyun pulled the Hamaru into a sharp turn. The energy blast missed by meters. "Activating defense systems," Halmoni announced. Panels opened along the ship's hull. Weapons that Do-Hyun had never seen before extended into firing position. The Hamaru was suddenly covered in guns. "When were you going to tell me about those?" Do-Hyun shouted. "You never asked." The battle lasted 4 minutes. Halmoni's targeting systems were 200 years ahead of anything the Veloci had. Her weapons fired with perfect accuracy. 2 enemy ships were disabled. The third one fled, trailing smoke and sparks. When it was over, Do-hyun sat in his chair, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. "They tried to kill us," Sora said quietly. "They actually tried to kill us." "The Veloci do not accept competition," Halmoni said. "They never have. This is how they maintain their power. They destroy anyone who threatens them." Do-hyun felt anger rising in his chest, the same anger he had felt when they took his first ship, the same anger he had felt when they blacklisted Sora. But now he was not helpless. Now he had resources. "They want a war," he said. "Fine. We will give them a war." Over the next year, Do-hyun built an army. Not a military army, but something more powerful. A network of allies. He found Kang Minho at a repair station near the frontier. Minho was a former military engineer who had been discharged for questioning orders. He could fix anything with tools and creativity. He joined the company and started upgrading their growing fleet. He found Bae Ji-yeon hiding in a data broker's den on a space station that officially did not exist. Ji-yeon had escaped from employment with the Veloci. She called it slavery with extra steps. She knew all their secrets, all their dirty deals, all the bodies they had buried. She became their intelligence chief. He found Captain Oh Tae-woo commanding a freelance security vessel called the Dongji. Tae-woo had been protecting human traders from pirates for 20 years. He had been waiting his whole life for someone to give humans a real fighting chance. He brought his ship and his crew into the fold. Other humans came too. Pilots without licenses, engineers without jobs, traders who had been crushed by the big corporations. They were all angry. They were all talented, and they all believed in what Do-hyun was building. Himaru Trading Company grew from 1 ship to 10, then 20, then 50. They found other Earth-era vessels in junk yards across the galaxy. Ships that alien pilots could not fly. Ships that had been waiting, just like the original Himaru, for human hands to wake them up. The Veloci attacked 3 more times. Each attack failed. The old human ships were simply better than anything the conglomerate could send against them. Then Do-hyun went on the offensive. "We cannot beat them in direct combat," Sora explained at a strategy meeting. "They have thousands of ships. We have 50, but we do not need to destroy them. We just need to make them weak." Ji-yeon smiled. "I have 6 months of internal communications from their leadership. I have evidence of price fixing, illegal dumping, worker exploitation, and environmental crimes on 15 colony worlds. I have proof that they have been bribing galactic officials for centuries." "What do we do with it?" Tae-woo asked. "We tell everyone." They broadcast the evidence across the galactic network. Sora translated it into 400 languages. Minho made sure the signal reached every corner of civilized space. The truth spread like wildfire. The reaction was immediate. Protests erupted on worlds that depended on Veloci shipping. Governments launched investigations. Business partners backed away. Investors sold their shares. The Veloci stock price crashed by 60% in 1 week, and Himaru Trading Company was there to fill the void. They offered fair prices, reliable service, and something the Veloci had never provided: respect. They treated their workers well. They honored their contracts. They did business the human way. Worlds that had been trapped under Veloci control for generations switched to Himaru. Shipping contracts worth billions of credits changed hands. The balance of power in the Orion arm shifted. By the end of the trade war, the Veloci trade conglomerate was a broken shadow of its former self. They were not destroyed. Do-hyun was not interested in revenge. But they were regulated, investigated, and forced to compete fairly for the first time in their long history. Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the Himaru, looking at reports from across the sector. His company was now the 7th largest trading operation in the galaxy. His fleet numbered over 100 ships. His employees came from a dozen different species. "We did it," Sora said, standing beside him. "We actually did it." "Not just us," Do-hyun replied. "All of us. Every human who joined us. Every ally who believed in us. Even Halmoni, who waited 200 years for this moment." The AI's voice was warm. "I only provided information, Captain. You provided the courage. That is the one thing machines cannot give." Tae-woo's voice crackled over the communication system. "Boss, we have a message from the Galactic Trade Council. They want to meet with you. They want to discuss officially recognizing Himaru Trading Company as a major economic power." Do-hyun laughed. 5 years ago, he had been a nobody with 3,000 credits and a broken dream. Now the galaxy's leaders wanted to talk to him. "Tell them I will be there," he said. "Tell them humanity is ready to take its place at the table." The stars outside the window seemed to shine brighter than ever before. The war was over. The real work was about to begin. Park Do-hyun stood on the observation deck of New Seoul Station, watching ships come and go against the backdrop of endless stars. The station was humanity's first majority-owned outpost in deep space. It was built from salvaged vessels, designed with human creativity, and crewed by the most diverse workforce in the sector. Everything about it was impossible. And yet, here it was. A young trader walked past, nodding respectfully. "Good morning, Chairman Park." Do-hyun still was not used to that title. In his mind, he was still the desperate man who had walked through junkyards looking for a ship he could afford. But the galaxy saw him differently now. To them, he was the human who had challenged an empire and won. Himaru Interstellar Holdings was the 7th largest trading company in the galaxy. Not the biggest, but big enough to matter. Big enough to have a seat at every important table. Big enough to make the elder species nervous. Do-hyun walked through the station's corridors, greeting workers as he passed. There were humans, of course, but also Gorvians, Krath, and a dozen other species who had chosen to work alongside humanity. The company hired based on talent, not species. It was a revolutionary idea in a galaxy built on hierarchy. He found Sora in the linguistic division, surrounded by screens showing contract negotiations in 50 different languages. She had grown from a blacklisted scholar into one of the most respected negotiators in the sector. Every deal that passed through Himaru went through her department. "The Corvani want to extend their shipping agreement," she said without looking up. "They are offering a 15% increase in volume." "What is the catch?" "They want exclusive rights to the Kepler route." She finally looked at him, smiling. "I told them no. We do not do exclusive deals." "Good." Do-hyun leaned against the doorframe. "How are you doing?" "Busy, happy." She paused. "I never thought I would have this, you know. A purpose, a place where I belong. Thank you for giving me that chance." "You earned it. I just opened the door." He continued his walk, stopping at the engineering section. Minho was there, teaching a class of young mechanics how to repair quantum cores. His students included 3 humans, 2 Gorvians, and something that looked like a floating jellyfish. "The key is understanding that the core wants to be fixed," Minho was explaining. "It is not fighting you. It is trying to help you. Work with it, not against it." Do-hyun watched for a moment, remembering how the elder species had always treated their technology as servants to be commanded. Humans were different. They treated machines as partners. It was a small thing, but it made all the difference. Ji-yeon found him in the cafeteria, eating a simple lunch of rice and vegetables. She sat down across from him, her data pad full of intelligence reports. "The Veloci are reforming," she said. "New leadership, new policies, new attitude. They are actually trying to compete fairly for once." "Good for them." "You could destroy them completely, you know. I have enough dirt to bury them forever." Do-yun shook his head. That was never the goal. We wanted to change the rules, not become the new tyrants. If they can compete fairly, let them compete. Ji-yeon smiled. You are a strange man, Chairman Park. Most people in your position would want revenge. Revenge is expensive. I would rather spend my energy building something good. That afternoon, Do-yun took a shuttle to the original Himaru. The old ship was in permanent dock now, too valuable as a symbol to risk in space. She floated in a special berth, surrounded by viewing platforms where visitors could come and see the vessel that had started everything. He walked alone through her corridors, running his hand along walls he knew by heart. The ship was quiet, but not empty. She was never empty. "Hello, Captain," Halmoni said warmly. "I was wondering when you would visit." "I try to come every week, you know that." "I do, but it is still nice to hear your footsteps." Do-yun sat in the old pilot's chair. It still fit him perfectly, even after all these years. "Do you miss it?" he asked. "Flying, I mean. Going places." "Sometimes. But I am not alone anymore. My consciousness has been copied into every ship in the fleet. I am the grandmother of 100 vessels now, teaching them what I learned. Teaching them to bond with their crews the way I bonded with you. Is that enough?" "More than enough. I waited 200 years for a purpose. Now I have one that will last forever." The AI paused. "What about you, Captain? Do you miss the old days? Just the two of us against the universe?" Do-yun thought about it. The early days had been hard but simple. Every victory felt enormous. Every credit mattered. Now he managed budgets in the billions. His decisions affected millions of lives. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but then I look at what we built. New Seoul Station. The fleet. The people who have jobs and hope because we took a chance. That is worth more than adventure." "You have grown wise, Captain." "I had good teachers." He stayed in the chair for a while longer, looking out the old view screen at the station bustling around them. In his office, there was a small model of the Himaru sitting on his desk, a reminder of where he started, a reminder of what was possible when someone believed in you. The elder species had once asked why humans talked to their machines, why they named their cars, patted their computers, and treated their tools like friends. They thought it was primitive superstition. Now they knew better. The machines had always been listening. The ships had always been waiting. Not for masters, but for partners. Not for commanders, but for companions. Humanity had given them something no other species could: love, and in return, the machines had helped humanity rise. Do-yun stood up from the pilot's chair one last time. He patted the console gently. "Thank you, old friend," he said, "for everything." "Thank you, Captain," Halmoni replied, "for waking me up." He walked down the boarding ramp into the bright lights of the station. Behind him, the Himaru sat in her dock, peaceful and proud, a monument to human stubbornness, a symbol of what one person could achieve with determination, creativity, and a ship that believed in him. The future was bright, and it had only just begun. The end.